Crankshaft main bush fitment. Crankshaft main bush or stub upper and stub lower are available in different sizes. Select the stub upper and lower as per the grade given on crankcase and crankshaft. This is stub upper. Stub upper should be fit in the crankcase with both the holes matching to the holes in the crankcase. This is stub lower. Assemble the stub upper and lower into the special tool. Now assemble the special tool into the crankcase with stub upper facing up and stub lower facing down. Now fit the upper cup of the special tool, holding the tool straight. Now tighten the nut to fit the stub upper and stub lower into the crankcase. Ensure stub upper and stub lower are evenly fit on the crankcase with proper gap on both sides of the crankcase. Use this special tool to fit the idler gear bush in the crankcase. Tap to fit the bush in the crankcase. Main shaft assembly needle roller bearing fitment tool. Use this special tool to fit the bearing into the crankcase. Cluster gear assembly needle roller bearing fitment. Use this special tool to fit the bearing into the crankcase. Differential cage ball bearing fitment. Use this special tool to fit the ball bearing into the crankcase. The circlip. Crankshaft assembly fitment into the crankcase. First, fit the thrust washer on both sides of the crankshaft. Thrust washers are of standard size. Crankshaft assembly fitment into crankcase. Apply oil to the crankshaft. With the one-way clutch splines facing in towards the crankcase, fit the crankshaft into the crankcase. Inverter gear lever fitment. Use new O-rings on the inverter gear lever and fit the lever from the bottom of the crankcase. Now fit the gear lever to the inverter gear lever, matching the D slot. Now place a shim use a new circlip and fit it with an external circlip plier. Differential cage assembly fitment into the crankcase. Use a suitable tool and press using arbor pressing machine or hydraulic machine. Fit the circlip to the differential cage assembly. Use external circlip plier and fit the circlip. Idler gear fitment. Apply oil and fit the idler gear into the crankcase. Main shaft assembly. Ensure shim is fit and the circlip. Insert the cross into the main shaft assembly slot. Insert the gear bush into the stem shaft. Stem shaft fitment to the cross. Fit the stem shaft to the cross along with gear bush. Now tighten the stem shaft in anti-clockwise direction. Apply torque. Stem shaft flaring. Keep the main shaft assembly on a suitable tool. Use this flaring tool to flare the stem shaft along with cross. Use the sharp edge facing down. Insert it into the slot. Now tap the flaring tool using a suitable tool and hammer. Now flare the other side of the stem and cross. Insert the sharp side of the tool inside the main shaft on stem and cross. Speed gear assembly on main shaft. Fourth gear. Fit the collar side facing up. Third speed gear. This gear can be fit on both the sides. Second gear. Collar facing down. First gear, collar facing down. Now cross check for proper fitment of speed gears on main shaft. Check for equal gap between all the gears. Now insert the balls one by one into the main shaft. Close the other end so that the ball does not fall off. Now insert the other ball into the main shaft. Now insert the springs one by one into the main shaft. Now rotate the first gear and bring any one of the lug just below the spring. Now fit the spacer with the lug matching the slot on the main shaft. Now press the spring and spacer simultaneously, one by one. Reverse control gear shim. Place the shim on the bearing side. Reverse control gear fitment. Fit the reverse control gear with the slot side facing towards the crankcase. Fit the slot in the gear lever slider and fit it on the crankcase. Main shaft assembly fitment into the crankcase. Fit the main shaft assembly with the stem shaft facing towards the crankcase. Now fit the cluster gear assembly into the crankcase. Replace the O-ring of oil strainer every time it is removed from the engine, and clean the oil strainer by air before it is fitted back into the crankcase. Fit the oil strainer into the crankcase with O-ring. Fit upper stop and lower stop into the crankcase. Fit upper stop with slot and the holes matching with lubrication passage. Use this special tool to fit upper and lower stop into the crankcase. This tool is common to fit the bush in both the crankcase. Use new gasket on crankcase. Ensure all gears are fit and thrust washer on the crankshaft and oil strainer. Now fit the other side of the crankcase. Roller and spring fitment in one-way clutch. For proper fitment of spring, you can check the diagram as shown in the video. Hub fitment on one-way clutch. Match the lug as per the bolt design and fit the hub. Now tighten all the 3 Allen bolts. Now fit the crown gear to the one-way clutch. Rotate anti-clockwise. Tighten the crankcase bolts in a sequence as shown. Now apply torque. Place the oil pump gasket in the crankcase. Fit it properly to ensure bolts fitment area. Now fit the oil pump. Matching the holes meant for bolts. Fill the oil pump with engine oil for priming purpose. And fit the oil pump to the crankcase. Now tighten the bolts. Gradually tighten both the bolts. Now apply torque to the bolts. One-way clutch assembly and intermittent gear fitment. Fit both the parts as an assembly. Replace the shim for one-way clutch and tighten the nut. Use the special tools to tighten the one-way clutch chuck nut. Now apply torque to the one-way clutch chuck nut. Use the special tool to apply the torque. Use this special tool to fit the oil seal into the stator coil assembly support plate. Oil pressure relief valve fitment. Check for condition of the valve, like any scratches and dimensions wear out. Replace with a new one. Oil pressure relief valve spring. Check the condition of the spring by measuring the free length. If out of service limit, replace the spring with the new one. Now fit the spring to the stator coil support assembly plate. Stator coil support cover fitment to the crankcase. Use a new gasket. Ensure oil pressure relief valve spring is fit to the cover. Ensure the spring goes inside the oil pressure relief valve. Tighten the bolts diagonally. Now apply torque to the bolts. Stator coil assembly fitment on crankcase. Fit the stator coil assembly on stator coil support plate and tighten it with 3 Torx screws. Now fit the rubber grommet and crankshaft position sensor. Tighten the torque screw for crankshaft position sensor. Fit the HT coil to the crankcase. Fit engine shaft support plate on the crankcase. Fit the bolts along with washer. Now tighten the bolts using a T-spanner. Now apply torque to the bolts. Fit the magnetorotor matching the keyway. Fit the 18 mm flange nut and tighten it. Use the special tool to hold the magnetorotor and tighten the nut. Now apply torque. Now fit the fan on magneto, matching the bolt's position. Apply torque to the bolts. Gear shifter unit fitment on crankcase. Use new gasket and match the slider of gear lever with the stem shaft and fit the gear shifter unit. Tighten the bolts. Apply torque to the bolts. Reverse gear lever return spring fitment. Piston ring end gap checking. Insert the piston ring into the cylinder barrel and level the ring in the cylinder using the piston from bottom side. Check the piston ring end gap using feeler gauge. Fit the piston rings the piston with top facing up. Set the piston rings on piston at 120 degrees apart from each other. Set the piston rings on piston at 120 degrees from each other. Fit the starter motor into the crankcase. Apply torque to the bolts. Fit the piston assembly to connecting rod with the arrow facing towards starter motor or exhaust side. Connect the piston assembly to the connecting rod. Fit the wire lock to the gudgeon pin. Preloading the dial gauge. Cylinder gasket selection process. First, take the piston to PDC. Now fit the preloaded dial gauge along with the special tool. Use the head nuts to tighten the special tool. Now rotate the crankshaft and bring the piston to TDC until the dial gauge needle rests at one position. Use the new selected cylinder gasket as per the selection process. Cylinder fitment process. Use the special tool below the piston for support. Lubricate cylinder before fitment. Now use the special tool to compress the piston rings. Now fit the cylinder into the piston. Now take out the special tools. Got the ring compressor. Now push the cylinder assembly completely down. Now fit the chain guide and tensioner. Now fit the chain guide. Now fit the guide into the lug of the crankcase. Now fit the head gasket. Always use new one whenever head assembly is removed. Use this special tool to replace valve and valve spring. Fit the camshaft assembly into the cylinder head. Check the rocker roller condition. If worn out, replace with a new one. Now fit the rocker pin with the threaded portion facing out. Now fit the camshaft locking plate. Now use 12 mm 4 flanged nuts and 2 8 mm flanged bolts to secure the head assembly to the cylinder. Before tightening the head fasteners, loosen the rocker nuts. Now tighten the bolts using 8 mm T-spanner. Apply torque to the nuts diagonally. Now apply torque to the bolts. Fit crankshaft timing gear. with the gear side facing towards the crankcase. Now insert the timing gear from the head assembly. Use the special tool and dial gauge to set the piston to TDC condition for valve timing setting. Fit the special tool needle to the dial gauge. Now fit this special tool along with the needle to the dial gauge. Check for free movement of the dial gauge before using it. Now fit the dial gauge along with the special tool on the head assembly at spark plug area. Now rotate the crankshaft to bring the piston to TDC. Check the dial gauge needle until it stops at one position to identify the piston TDC. Valve timing setting procedure. With the piston in TDC condition, now insert the camshaft sprocket into the timing chain. Fit the return spring to the mass lever. Now fit the mass lever assembly into the camshaft. Now fit the return spring into the camshaft timing sprocket. Fit the containment sheet. Now use two Allen screws and tighten the containment sheet along with camshaft and timing sprocket. Tighten both the screws one by one gradually so that the mass is free to operate. Check free movement of the mass lever. Auto chain tensioner fitment. Set the auto chain tensioner to 0. To ensure auto chain tensioner is working, pull out the lever for 2 steps. Place a new gasket on the cylinder assembly at auto chain tensioner area. Use new O-ring to the auto chain tensioner. Use 2 8 mm bolts and fix the chain tensioner to the cylinder. Tighten the bolts. Apply torque to the bolts. Use genuine chain tensioner spring. Tighten the fastener. Apply torque. Now remove the special tool along with dial gauge. Now assemble the clutch assembly into the clutch housing. Fit the clutch holder plate. Use 8 mm T-spanner and tighten the bolts diagonally. Now assemble the clutch bush. The clutch assembly. Now fit the engine gear. Fit the engine gear with the collar facing inside. Fit the belly washer with its concave side facing inside. Both the washers are similar. Use 24 mm nut to tighten the clutch assembly and engine gear. Both the nuts are similar. Use the special tool to hold the clutch assembly. Use 24 mm socket and tighten the nut. Use the special tool and apply the torque. Use the special tool to lock the engine gear and tighten the nut using 24 mm. Apply torque to the nut. Fit the clutch release bearing. Use new gasket and fit the clutch cover. Now tighten the bolts diagonally. Now apply torque. Fit the oil pump. Prime the oil filter first. Fit the oil filter to the crankcase. Use the special tool to tighten the oil filter. Valve clearance checking and setting procedure. Rotate the flywheel and bring the piston to TDC at compression stroke. And match the arrow mark on camshaft sprocket with that on head assembly. Ensure all three valves are in closed condition by checking the free movement of rockers. Valve clearance checking and setting procedure. First loosen the rocker nut and then use the special tool to adjust the valve clearance, and by using a feeler gauge set the clearance as required and then tighten the nut. Use a new gasket for spark plug. Fit the rocker cover with new gasket. And fit it on the head assembly. Ensure to fit the earthing cable. Apply torque to the bolts. Now fit the air baffles. Fit the engine shroud. Take care of the lugs and fit them properly to ensure forced air cooling system works properly. Fit the intake manifold to the head assembly. Use new gasket on the head assembly and fit the intake manifold or fuel rail assembly. Tighten the intake manifold or fuel rail assembly bolts. Fit the injector. Use new O-rings always whenever the injector is removed from fuel rail assembly. Fit the clamp to hold the injector on fuel rail assembly. Tighten the bolts of the clamp holding injector to the fuel rail. Apply torque. Fit the rail pressure and temperature sensor to the fuel rail assembly. Tighten using special tool. Apply torque. Fit the map sensor. Use new O-ring and fit the map sensor on fuel rail assembly. And tighten the map sensor using one bolt. Apply torque. Carburetor and its maintenance. During every service, open this drain screw and remove the contaminated water and sediments from the carburetor. Timely open the float chamber and clean for any sediments and dirt inside the float chamber. Remove the float chamber. Take out the float. Take out the float and float pin from the carburetor. Check the condition of the float pin. If the tip is worn out, replace the unit with the new one. Take out the main jet. Take out the pilot jet. Remove idling setting screw. Take out the idling setting screw along with spring. Take out the washer. Take out the O-ring. Take out the air screw. Take out the air screw along with spring. Take out the washer and O-ring. Take out the O-ring. Clean the carburetor using petrol and pressured air. Do not use wires to clean the passages and jets. Low pressurized air to the jets. Do not use wire brushes to clean them. Fit the main jet after cleaning the passages and main jet. Fit the pilot jet. the float along with float needle. Fit the float pin. Use a new o-ring on float chamber and fit it on the carburetor. Tighten the float chamber screws. Place a washer on the spring. Now place a o-ring on the shim. Now fit the air screw assembly into the carburetor. Idle screw assembly. Now fit the spring first and then the plain washer and then the o-ring. Fit the idle screw assembly into the carburetor. Use new o-ring on carburetor adapter and fit it on the fuel rail. Use new o-ring on carburetor and fit it on the fuel rail. Ensure adapter o-ring is facing the intake manifold. Tighten the bolts. Fit the throttle valve along with accelerator cable. Assemble the choke valve. Check the spark plug gap using feeler gauge. Put the spark plug in spark plug spanner and fit it into the head assembly. Now tighten the spark plug. Fit the spark plug cap. Pour engine oil as per the recommendation and fit the dipstick.